Okay. So thank you, Anna. That was amazing. And you did not overtalk. We want to hear more, so don't go anywhere. I want this to be just kind of a well-rounded day. And one of the things that made me so excited about today is two of my dearest friends. So my second speaker is Jasna Burza. If you are from Minnesota, you may have seen Jasna on television. She's on every week. Is it KARE 11?
WCCO.
WCCO. And so she has made a beautiful life for herself. She coaches women in leadership and women and men too. She has a podcast called Up Level Together. So make sure to look for that. But what I know about Jasna is I met Jasna because she interviewed me for a healing modality called whisperology. And we were referred by another friend, Anna, who owns Dow Foods. Pixie is an employee of Dow Foods that's on the show with us, or on the webinar with us today. Jasna interviewed me in Minneapolis, and the moment we met, for me, it was a love affair. She became a teacher, a mentor, a healer for me. And just like I feel emotions over my friendship with Anna, I feel that about Jasna. We have had a beautiful journey that I hope continues on for a very long time, because your mentorship in my life, your encouragement in my life has been unsurpassed. So I'm getting tearful thinking about you and our topic today. And so it's with so much pleasure that I introduce you to Jasna Burza. Thank you for being on today, Jasna.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, and thank you so much. I feel just who knows, Sarah knows we all adore you and love you to pieces, because you spread light and love everywhere you go. So I'm forever blessed to be your friend. Thank you so much for the honor of having me. And Anna, that was really incredible and so insightful. I'm like, I have curcumin, I have the gel pills in like, I just have not been taking. My husband's like, you should take it, it's really good. But he's also Indian, so everything he makes has turmeric. So I'm thinking I'm probably getting it somehow. Right? So thank you all so much for having me. It really is an honor. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the research that I have been discovering over the last 27 months. I embarked on this journey of writing a book, or the book found me and asked me to write it, if that makes any sense. So Tara and I have been really dabbling and interacting with this field of healing, and what does it mean to be more coherent, aligned human beings in the world that we live in right now. Because sometimes I feel like the world that I know is completely falling apart, and I need to find my grounding, and it's becoming very difficult for me to find it. So I do the best that I can. I always ask questions like why. I want to research, I want to do all the things that I can to figure things out. And I started to explore this intersection of quantum physics and consciousness, and how quantum physics, thermodynamics, and all of this new research that's coming from right now, primarily from Europe, where they're studying it because they're funding that kind of research. It's explaining what mystics have known for millennia. And to me, this is so very exciting. And I think it has practical applications in everyday life. And it really ties in beautifully with the teachings of Jesus and Buddha and Yogananda and Muhammad. And that really comes to the end point that we are the ones that we have been waiting for, that we are all connected by this invisible tapestry. We don't even have to absolutely believe in it, but it does exist. That tapestry is called the Higgs field, and it is the field, we discovered the field in 2012 in CERN in Switzerland, when we discovered something called the God particle, which is Higgs boson, the smallest particle, quantum particle that exists in that we know of in the world, and that gives mass to us, right? And when it interacts with the Higgs field. So what that means is that this entire world is kind of a hologram. It's kind of an illusion, but it's also really beautiful because we get to reclaim our creative power. And again, spiritual teachers, leaders, and mystics have been talking about it for a very long time. And in the research that I've been discovering, I think it started with Tara, with our teacher Steve. He was my healer when I experienced a really severe, debilitating health condition that for a year no one could figure out. And the man laid his hands on me and or I mean, I was healed overnight. We've all heard those stories, right? And it's funny, I'm right now. Has anyone seen it on Netflix or Prime? It's called The Chosen, which is a fascinating. I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Catholic, but I'm all of those things, if that makes any sense. So I'm reading these like the magical healings that Jesus performed in this beautiful, incredible narration, and I'm reminded how this power is always within us. So I would go to Steve and I say, "Okay, Steve, fix this. I have this," and he say, "You know what to do. I've taught you. Go home and do it." And I would say, "But no, you do it. You're the healer." I'm like, "I wear fancy dresses and heels. I'm not a healer." And he said, "You're healer and heals." And the title of my book is Healer and Heals. And it really is a metaphor for all of us, whatever it is that we wear, whatever it is that we do, we are the ones ultimately that we have been waiting for without delegating our power. So the research for me is split into big concepts. I talk quite a bit about coherence, and I'm going to explain what that is. It's an alignment with oneself. It's a physical term. I talk a lot about the observer's effect, about thermodynamics, and all of these different things. And one aspect that I want to share with you today is the power of prayer, scientifically backed and proven. And I used to pray as a child. And I was born Muslim, and I went to the mosque and I wore a hijab and I did all the right things that one was supposed to do. And when I came into the US, a lot of those things that I was raised in did not apply to me anymore. I started to question my own path that would allow others to burn in hell just because they didn't have the same beliefs as I had. So I let go of that. And I said, how about I choose the religion where I love people, period, no matter what God they believe in. And that transformed my life. But the power of prayer is something that I neglected in the last 20 years. That I think is really, really incredible. And now more and more studies are coming out and say, oh my God, it actually works. It's not some nebulous thing. So the title of my chapter, when the book is published sometime this year, is, pray it's good for you, why our grandmas have been right all along. So there's a beautiful quote by Sarah Bambretnak, who wrote The Simple Abundance. I think some of you may know the book. It's on my nightstand. She said, for whether we realize it or not, with every breath, every heartbeat, women pray. One way or another, we pray. Everyday life is a prayer, and how we conduct it, celebrate it, consecrate it, it's just that some prayers are better than the others. And she said, conscious prayers are the best. So it is this real rabbit hole into the study of the field and the things that we can actually right now observe. And the most fascinating latest research, I'm going to go into the prayer in just a little bit, and I'm going to finish. I'm not going to talk for very long. Just want to share something that's practical and useful to you now. But here is an example of why this is so important, and way more important than a halftime show and what Rihanna wore, and we're being distracted all the time about the research that's coming through that is so incredibly important. So it's putting a veil over our eyes, and I think we're not able to see the potential that we have, the greatness within. In October of 2022, just a few months ago, Einstein was proved wrong. There's a concept called quantum entanglement, for which Einstein said that God doesn't play dice, right? Because quantum entanglement was so weird. It said that it went back with the observer effect, that if you observe something, its behavior changes. And then a change in one particle affects another particle, even though if they are on a completely different continent, which seemed so ludicrous to us. We couldn't explain it. And Einstein was like, well, nothing travels faster than the speed of light, right? Absolutely nothing. And quantum entanglement is instant. And in 2022, in October, three physicists won the Nobel Peace Prize for proving Einstein wrong. There is something that's faster than the speed of light. Their quantum entanglement is real. This exists. We can no longer put our heads into the sand and disregard that. And this is where prayer comes in, because prayer is especially intercessory prayer, which is praying on behalf of someone else. The quantum entanglement and how we interact with the fields is the proof that for us affirms why is it that prayer works. So prayer is an ancient practice that has been around for thousands of years, from the Mayas to the Aztecs, all the way to every faith and religion. There's a prayer that exists, that people have been utilizing, and it is, there's so many definitions of what prayer is in every faith or tradition, but I offer this definition I offer in the book to bring everyone on the same page. And for me, prayer is an act of intentional connection to something bigger than us, and being in absolutely full surrender of all. So it's kind of an emotion we've all felt at one point or another, and it's a state of being rather than doing. And for me, in the most simplified terms, it's when I feel love. And for most of my life, it was just a feeling and not a knowing. And now it is a knowing. And I learned that physics really explains it so beautiful in a straightforward manner. And I'm like, oh my God, does this mean that my grandma was right all along? I'm like, yes, grandmas were right. All the religious teachers were right. They really work. And there was a beautiful research done by The Power of Intention by William Tiller. And you can visit the Tiller Institute and find out more about the research. He was a Stanford professor who left after 20, I believe, 5 years of teaching at Stanford. And he was a physicist, and he was like, wait a minute, this power of intention is something, we're onto something. So he did so many incredible studies that proved through the laws of the second law of thermodynamics, specifically how we activate and change the spaces around us, because even this room that I'm in is not empty, it contains information. And through our words and thoughts, we activate that information, change its behavior, change its quality, and that feeds it back to us in the end. And our healer, Steve, my teacher, Steve, he offers his this definition. He said that the healing is or prayer is a form of directed intention, where we are communicating with a transcended God. So I'm not religious, but I do believe in this. I call it God, and it just for communication and a transparency basis. For me, it's love for one another. We're all connected. We're it. But it's also that God within us, right? The immanent side of God. And I think that prayer is that the moment where we recognize the spiritual essence within us. It's not about getting what we want. So very often we are the ones who are familiar with petition prayers, like, please God, give me this. Please God, fix this. Please God, do that. Those are petition prayers. It's not about getting what we want. It's about allowing the force to work through us. And that's why the most powerful prayer is, Steve always said, it's not my will, it's thy will. And by thy, like whatever is best in the higher service for me. So the power of prayer is based on this idea that space and time are flexible. So I don't want to introduce too much physics because I don't want to confuse you, but that's precisely what Albert Einstein, what I referenced to earlier, talked about when he said spooky action at a distance. That's that quantum entanglement, right? It just proves that particles are connected in such a mysterious way that even when separated, an act of observing one is instantly changing the behavior in the other. I mean, this is so incredibly mind-blowing, right? This means that everything in the universe is interconnected, intertwined, and it connects to each other, one another, even if they're very far apart. So what studies conclusively prove is that prayer works in healing modality. It helps with blood pressure, and these are the peer-reviewed double-blind studies. It helps with asthma. It helps with heart attacks, headaches, anxiety, and it can also change enzyme activity, which is amazing, blood cell growth, and germination of seeds. So a great example is, you must have seen some of those, I think, TikTok trends, or you take a jar and you plant a seed and then another one, exactly the same amount of water, and you bless one and you pray one and you talk to one, and you're going to see the difference between the growth of one and another. It's a real-time proof, or evidence for ourselves. Say, this is really incredible. So I'm the kind of person that talks to my plants. Like, I ask them, they communicate with me, they co-create. I do believe that objects are inanimate, that they're everything around us speaks and communicates. And if you see a woman in heels hugging a tree in the forest, that's probably me, because I'm such a hug or tree hugger. And ultimately, I believe that prayer is that moment where energy enters our body and flows through us, when it centers us and it grounds us. It's a sense of awe, and very often it's a response to vulnerability at difficult times, but it is gratefulness. It's in moments of pain and also moments of beauty. It very often it starts with a connection when we're suffering, but we can also learn it in so many different venues of life where it really is dependent on what it is that we need. Very often people come to prayer when, that is the power of it, when we're on our knees and we have nowhere else to go, right? Well, please, God, I've tried everything, because we feel like we can fix it all. Instead, what's so beautiful, whether it's God or now we know the universe, the entanglement all around us, that we are co-creating, we're way more powerful than we can even possibly imagine through this science, so that we can use prayer to heal. We can use prayer to achieve an outcome. We can use prayer to offer gratitude, to ask for guidance and inspiration. And the prayers that we pray define our life. And what our grandmothers knew all along, and what we made fun of, is that experiments all over the world are proving that prayers affect our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual lives. And there's this question now, how do you pray effectively? And I offer many stories and I offer many ways to really utilize this power of prayer. And I'm going to share with you just two different, very quickly. Tara, did I have time for two little quick? I'm speeding through, so I
You don't need to speak through. Share what you want to share. It's so sacred and holy, and
Well, I hope that it's really useful, because it has completely changed my life, and the life of people that I work with is mind-blowing, and I really believe it's on our fingertips. And the most beautiful thing, it doesn't cost a thing. We don't need another course. We don't need another thing. We don't need to buy anything or become anyone else. We literally just have to access the power in it, which makes me so excited. Number one, because I love the science, I love the research behind all of that, but I also love the practicality. Okay, Jasna, this is all great, but what the hell do I do with it right now, right? It's like, how do I put this into use? So really quickly, I think that your prayers are going to show up the life, whatever they are, and sometimes they could be petition prayers. Remember that the prayer is the thing that changes us when we pray. All of our physiology changes when we start praying, and that is this incredible power of it. And there are two prayers that I want to share. And number one is the prayer that I said before I go to bed, and I've been saying it for the longest time, just kind of like, paraphrasing and doing all these wonderful things. And then I had this idea of recording it. So figuring and finding a prayer that you can say before you go to sleep. And this connects to my second part, which is about genius within and refers to Walter Russell. Walter Russell was an incredible genius and a mystic and a philosopher and a sculptor, and with fifth grade education. He had a connection to source because he understood the power that he could harvest within him, just like Tesla, just like many people before them. And they really talked quite a bit about the power of going to sleep, that when we fall asleep, we are really not unconscious. There's this like we are completely unconscious, and we just, that's it. The body is cleansing itself, detoxing at night, and that's about it. But something even more powerful happens, actually, especially if we study our brain waves. And spiritually, those will be the times where we are restored, well, spiritual, where we're offered guidance. When if you go to bed asking for a specific kind of guidance, you are going to be, it's almost like your brain is only going to take note of the things that happen throughout the day and throw out the rest, and then you will be given a way forward. So it's kind of, Walter Russell talked about is severing the body, where our soul can be free to go back to source, connect to oneness, where we can be inspired, we can be renewed, the mind renewed. So in the morning, we create. He talked about it, that the real creation actually happens at night while we sleep, because during the day our minds are full and we're only focused on the doing. So it's in the evenings are 100 times more powerful, the sacredness, germination of ideas and thoughts, than the days when we're consumed with noise and shoulda, woulda, and our own monkey mind that half the time tells us that we suck, right? So one of the things I want to share with you is this beautiful thing that I recorded, and it's, I think, just 30 seconds, but it repeats over and over and over and over again. And what I do is I listen to it, I read to my kids, and then they're in bed and I put it on, because I was trying to complain. I'm like, I'm too tired after I read to them. I don't have time to meditate. I'm like, I read to them, turn off the light, and then we all do it. Then I like literally have to do it. And kids are very good, notoriously good about habits and reminding you when you miss it. Then you're like, oh my God, if they do it, I should do it. So I hope that you can hear it. I don't think I'm a co-host, so maybe I'll just share it on my phone and you can just hear.
You should be able to hear.
It is just a very simple prayer that I recorded, 40 seconds. I'll have you listen to it. I added my own music to it. Take 10 minutes and write down what is it that you want. And I'm happy to share this particular one with Tara. Add some music, record it in your own voice, and listen to it for 3 minutes before you go to bed. So this is my recording. Dear God, as I fall asleep tonight, please relax the tension of my body, calm the restlessness of my mind, still the thoughts which worry and perplex me. Help me to rest myself and all my problems in you and your light. Let your spirit speak to my mind and heart while I'm asleep, so that when I wake up in the morning, I may find that I have received in the nighttime light for my way, healing for all aspects of my being, peace for my worries, and a heart full of love. Grant me sleep tonight and tomorrow power to live. Thank you, God. Okay. And then I just have it repeat over and over and over again. And it's just, it wasn't that beautiful. It's so incredibly, for me, very moving. And even this last night, I was with my kids. And as some of you know, small kids, I have two small boys, it's very difficult to still them. And when this was on, not a peep, not a word. It was so beautiful. It was such a sacred moment to share. So that would be the first one. And that's like, just literally take away what I don't need, give me the rest, that I may receive whatever it is I need, which is really that the overall general very good prayer to have. And number two is the sort of a petition prayer, but this petition is for a good cause. And here's why. It is a petition to ask for guidance. I believe that there's sort of a genius in all of us. I write in my book, we didn't come here just to consume and move through life taking. I believe that we're here to activate that genius and be of service to others in whatever way we possibly can. So if you're struggling with something, if you feel like I have to figure out, I have to find next steps before you go to bed, single-mindedly just ask to be shown the way ask for guidance forward, and let your subconscious marinate in it for 8+ hours, like Anna talked about, the importance of sleep. Because when we get that deep sleep, we can access the you may call it other dimension, you may call it the field, you may call it go back to the light of the God. But I do studies are absolutely incredible with people, even though prayer is notoriously difficult to study and research because of the placebo effect that it may have. It's still pretty conclusive of how it can completely revolutionize our lives. So I could go on and on and on and on, but I'm going to stop right there. A little bit of theory, a little bit of inspiration, hopefully a little bit of practicality for our everyday life. I hope that that was useful to you all.
Amazing, Jasna. Oh my goodness. I knew that bringing you on today, one of these last days that we're all gathering, would be so powerful and sacred and holy. And I so appreciate your time and this information that we all can build on. How incredible. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Jasna.
It's such a pleasure, truly. And I'm more than happy to share the script. If you have any other questions, reach out to Tara and she can give you my contact info. But thank you all for being here. And Anna, I look forward to listening the rest of your talk today.
Thank you, Jasna. I'm definitely going to have you share with us the script and I will send it on to everyone. So thank you. That's so generous. And I can't wait for your book. I am so excited for that to be finished whenever that is, and all of your research. You know, everyone, Jasna has been studying all kinds of healing modalities and healing opportunities in so many different ways for her book. This is just one piece of what she's been studying, and you can see why our relationship has become sacred and holy to me. So thank you. You always uplift me. You always change the cells of my body are changed. Your intention for all of us makes us all feel uplifted. So thank you.